Bourbon Barkeep. My name's Curtis and appreciate you tuning in. This was actually supposed to be a spotlight episode, and then my wife had a hair appointment and somehow it took about 3 hours. So this guy has been single dadding it. And this turned into a foolproof blind. Just how do I put more bottles onto this table and just go for that. So that Jacob's Pardon spotlight will be debuting in a week or two, depending on how many more times I have to single dad it. So for now, I was like, hey, we got some foolproof bottles. I love them. Some people don't even know what foolproof means. So we're gonna dive into what that actually is. So foolproof, it essentially is, what are these distillers putting in their juice? What's the entry point? So at this point, we got benchmark here at 125 proof, pretty common proof. So they put it in 125 proof, it comes out of the barrel. Let's say it's 130 proof. They add a little water to it, bring it back down to that 125 proof. So it's a little different than your barrel proof or your cask strength. Let's say you have your 125 proof entry point and oh no, they test it with their magic and science and chemistry sets and they say, oh no, this is 123 proof now. Well, guess what? You can turn some of those barrels that don't work out into a single barrel. Not like they got to dump it by any means. They can use small batch and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I had it sitting there for a reason. So now we have our foolproofs. I can't say they're common. Missouri, you can't find benchmark anywhere. This was sent from some California site. Well, foolproof, can't find it. Sorry, I know, it's annoying. Green River, if you watched our Bourbon Barkeep Whiskey of the Years, this did pretty phenomenal, actually, especially when you're talking about $40, $45 price point. And then you have 1792 foolproof as well. This is your other 125 proof. And it's just, once again, another bang for the buck that I feel like just kind of sits on shelves and I don't know why. Now you're asking yourself, well, Curtis, fellow barkeep, you have this dumb thing right in the middle. It's not dumb. This is a Santa gift right here. Our friends at Whiskey Noobs, does a lot of Instagram reviews. He used his much smarter mind than mine to come up with a blind that you can do by yourself. So we're gonna walk through this guy as well. Yeah, he made me pay for it. No, he doesn't know my name and he doesn't know I'm doing this, but it's pretty cool, so I had to show it. So you got this little cap thing. You got your Glencairns in here. Inside, you just spin them around, and then now you don't know what's what. They come with some cool dog tags. I don't know why I picked dog tags, but it was a good decision. So you can you have your key. So guess what? I haven't used this before. We're gonna test this thing out with a foolproof blind right after this. We're poured up. I almost forgot to write the bottles on the dog tags, so we're off to a swimming start. So I'm gonna put the cap on this guy, show off my fancy new toy. We'll give this guy a whirl. I don't know even how fast to spin it. I hope there's not just whiskey, just smoothie everywhere in here. All right, spin. That didn't spin like a lot. Ow. We're gonna spin again. Yep. Just for good measure. Just for great. We have no idea now. All right, lids off. You all now know what foolproof even means. Now we're gonna find out who has the best one. And if you have a different foolproof that you enjoy more, that probably should have been in here, you can put it in the comments. I know Rebel has a foolproof. That Rebel cask strength did great in a lounge episode one time. All right, so I don't know what we are. You can see the dog tags are hidden. So far, the solo blind that Whiskey Noobs put out. Could use a little oil, but overall, I think it's accomplishing what we need it to be. So glass A on the nose. Pretty straightforward. A lot of vanilla, caramel cherry. We've also hit the part of the year to where these Glencairns get probably just at freezing point. So between the nose being muted, you never know if it's the bottle or the Glencairn hindering us. It's tough. It's a pretty prototypical nose. I feel like there's like a cinnamon graham cracker kind of coming out there. Not much else. Maybe just a hint of chocolate, but yeah, cinnamon, graham cracker, and your traditional, just kind of like this nice vanilla caramel. It is what it is. Let's get it on the palate and see. That's good. It has some heat to it. Cinnamon is on the forefront for sure, to where knowing kind of the proofs that we're dealing with, this seems to be in those 125s. I don't want to sit there and really guess the bottles. I mean, it's 25% chance anyways, but I feel like just kind of trying to figure out palate, see what you all like. This one comes in a lot of cinnamon, like that cinnamon bark. It is very drying. That sweetness, it's still very muted. It's a red fruit, some honey in there. Pretty light, doesn't hang around on the tongue a lot, but definitely feel in the chest, and a lot of cinnamon spice on the tongue. I'm gonna go back for a sip two, just to see if anything else comes out, and then we're gonna rotate around. Sip two, the hug and finish is pretty good. It doesn't linger on the tongue, but it is all in your chest. Very warming, which is kind of great considering how my night was. Sweetness, a little more pronounced. There was more of this honey starting to come out, maybe a little bit more of like a date or something along those lines. But yeah, I don't think that this is this very complex, there's layers on layers pour. It just kind of is what it is. My assumption of the 125 proof accomplishes what you would expect a 125 proof bourbon to accomplish. Used to all these being very blind. So, all right, so we got glass A over here. We'll just stick over here. Get a little rotation in. Glass B on the nose. It has a little more peanut to it, like a peanut shell. A lot more like an oak coming through, even like a wet oak. Like you left the barrel in the rain on accident. Glass B comes across very bready. Yeah, like I can't get around this like damp oak, but there is kind of this oak forwardness to it that I don't typically love, so it kind of does stick in the forefront of my nostrils, if you will. The sweetness seems to be more of like a honey, seems to be thinner, if you will. Let's get this guy on the palate and just see what we're working with. It's thin, very thin. Builds, changes a bit. Wow, that heat kicks in way after. There's an intense sweetness. A lot of that honey still kind of lingers, kind of like this vanilla ice cream. There is kind of like this, this richness to it in a good way. But man, that cinnamon just continues to build and build. It's not bad. It's hot. Like it more burns than has a quality proofiness to it, if you will, which is surprising after having glass A, which I think is more of that 125 range. For this one to have that much cinnamon or even black pepper kind of spice to it is a little surprising, but it's thin on the nose, it's thin on the tongue, and there's just a heat that builds that not what I would lean towards, if you will, but let's see what sip two has. Now we know. It's wild. It's wild. There's a really nice fruitiness, kind of that tip of the tongue. There's this really nice vanilla, this honey, apple, maybe like a nice orange, to where I enjoy it. But man, that cinnamon just kind of comes in very aggressive to where you're like, easy, man. Well, two down. not bad. You know, you try and poke holes to where not everything is a 9 out of 10, but boy, Glass B's angry. I don't know why. So we got Glass C now on the nose. See if I can warm this guy up a little bit and go from there. While we do that, I didn't mention this, like and subscribe. Small channel, it's good to know that you all are out there. It's good to know that the content is at least halfway entertaining, so thank you. The comments, especially for some of the end of the year stuff, was really nice. Appreciate you. And let's see Glass C now. This has some of that damp oak too, but there's a little bit more of a richness in here. Yeah, a lot more cherry sweetness, even like a cotton candy. I mean, overly sweet. Green apple, caramel, still your vanilla, and the stick that you have in your caramel apple is wet. Just, you know, you forgot to shut the window, it was just raining, pouring in, and your popsicle sticks were there, and you're like, damn it. All right, let's see if wet popsicle stick comes out on the palate. Cheers. Ooh, that's good. It doesn't. The wet popsicle stick. That's good. Ultra sweet, like this nice grape bubble gum. Yep. Enjoy it. Nice, pleasant, sweet oak kind of starting to come out. Maybe even like a, what's that? What is that? Creme brulee. That's what I'm looking for. Like a nice torch sugar with like that nice vanilla custard. That's delightful. After coming off of Glass B, not great on the hug, still feels a little light on the tongue, but if you wanted, at least out of A, B, and C, if you wanted that sweet pour, that smooth pour that can get you in trouble, so far that's Glass C. Let's see if we can get anything else out besides this creme brulee, which if it hangs around, I'm here for as well. I feel like I've said cinnamon for a majority of these. And this one, it's that sweet cinnamon. It's more of like that hot tamales to where, you know, hopefully it's not unbearably hot for you. I feel like it kind of goes into this nice sweet cinnamon. Just kind of lingers on the tongue a little bit. Not a lot of hug at all. Still thinner on the tongue, but overall highly enjoyable. Pretty dangerous considering all of these are at least over 114. Whichever one this one is, that one's going to get you in a lot of trouble. Now, last but not least, we got Glass D over here. Give her a quick swirl. Wow. It's like a really nice, like a toasted vanilla, even like a buttercream frosting. There's a nice richness. Completely different nose to where some of these kind of started to bleed into each other. You know, you're going back to back. This one, completely different. Yeah, that toasted vanilla, maybe even like a nice waffle in there with like a nice maple syrup. Sweet, but more in like the baked goods area. Even you can convince me like a nice blueberry muffin. There's some type of breakfast sweet pastry coming out and I am here for it. If I wanted to poke a hole, there's a slight grassiness to it, but I mean, you're really trying to dive in there and try and poke this thing or at least pull it apart. Overall, highly enjoyable nose. Let's see what the palate has. Man, that's good. I like that. Viscosity is there. Light on the hug. It could be being thrown off from A and B being just hot. This one, that vanilla is still really there. Maple syrup. There is some anise coming through, that kind of like black licorice, but as much as I don't enjoy black licorice, if I were to have one, this kind of tastes like a well done black licorice. Is that a thing? Yeah. I like that. I want more of it. It's gonna be a close call between at least 2 of these other glasses, but let's give it a fair shake, do sip 2. It's great. It's like a orange creamsicle. It just lingers. It actually just hangs out on your tongue and you're here for it. There's just that slight black licorice in there that I don't love. So now, if I were to score these, or at least, we'll just rank them. I'll rank. I'm gonna go, it's definitely glass D in 1. Let me slide that back. There's only so much room on this table, you know? So I'll go glass D, probably C, 2, well now third last. All right, so now let's find out what last place was and see if, oh man, can I get this out? Let's see. Benchmark. Tell you what, that bottle gets a lot of hype. I understand it's like $20, $25, so pretty fantastic at that price, at that proof. Having some people kind of hype it up to, hey, just throw an oak stave in and it's stag. I don't know. I mean, it has a lot of heat, but it doesn't have that viscosity that stag does. So 4th place, it's the value one. I mean, these are all pretty great values, but this is the extreme value one. All right, 3rd place, we got $17.92. Tasted hot. I definitely enjoyed the heat more than the benchmark one. Now you're talking, what is this guy? 60 bucks? I get the value behind it, but I think sooner or later I need a little more going on than what Benchmark is able to offer, but I understand for 25, that's pretty good. All right, so now you have bourbonbarkeep top 2, I think, at least top 3 whiskey of the year with our algorithm. You have the highly sought after Weller Foolproof. Let us see. Man, these are hard to get out. Whiskey noobs, you gotta figure out something else to get this tag. Weller, glass, 2nd place. Weller Foolproof. Green River, I mean, just continues to just mow down opponents. It's so good, so good. This one, 117.3 proof. I have started to see new batches coming out. I believe one was like 118 proof. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna figure out if it's better or changing or the same. So that's gonna be an episode that I have on the to-do list, if you will. But you're telling me, I mean, even at the same price, I just enjoy what Green River is doing. They have a depth and a complexity that I don't feel like Weller touches. Weller, it's really sweet, and I like a little bit more depth than what Weller has offered on a lot of their bottles. I like them, I love them, but the chase is tough to justify sometimes when you have some of these other bottles, even 1792, that I do think drink a touch better, even though I picked Weller above 1792. So now we learned what foolproof actually means. What can you do with a foolproof that goes lower in alcohol if that happens? And then we figured out which bottle should you actually be buying if you were like, man, I just have to have foolproof. I don't know why. It's a weird journey you're on, but guess what? You found your episode for it. So like, subscribe. Whiskey noobs, overall, pretty well done outside of like struggling with the dog tags. Maybe I'll just add like a string or something, but overall, great job, very innovative. I'm sure I'll be using it again. And Santa, thanks for bringing it.